How do you plan to have aggressive economic growth while the country, and especially New York State, is in an economic recession?
Well, I'll get to that as soon as I find out a way to help people shop and pet traffic, and so we can keep the grocery store there. I guess that should have been the focus. The economic issue, the question that's asked, and I want to congratulate who asked it, because you not only posed the question, you identified some of the challenges that we have. Absolutely, New York State is by far the most challenging place to start a business. I take that back. We rank number 49th compared to California as being adverse to business development. So I appreciate the person who wrote the question, identifying the fact that it's no easy chore. But how do you do that is the real issue. You start by supporting the local businesses who are already here, maintaining those jobs, so in a bad economic time, as many of these jobs are possible, stay here. Secondly, which we've done, you have to forge partnerships with people who are in the Albany level in economic development. And sometimes that takes going down there and debating issues right in Albany, as I did, trying to preserve one of the best assets we have for business development, and that's our IDAs, Industrial Development Agency. That's the conduit, the capacity we have to drive significant benefits. How about not having any sales tax on your construction supplies when you're doing that? How about a set pilot payment in lieu of taxes program, so as a new business you can project out over 7 years what your taxes are actually going to be, so when you're building that business plan, you can do that. I've had to lobby for that, as have most people who've been involved in economic development issues across the state, because there have been efforts that have been raised to try and eliminate that. Then you have to work with your local businesses like we did with Dunkirk Metal to help grow new technology and new opportunities in existing businesses here, as Bill Raines, as the president of that company, stated and submitted to the Dunkirk Observer. You can read it for yourself about the jobs that created because of our hands-on approach.
Well, again, this is a clear difference. Mr. Edwards has spent this whole campaign campaigning against New York State. He's not running for state office, at least as far as I know. So he spent this entire campaign talking about the STAR program and other issues that are issues that the state handles. So yes, our approach is very different. I want to talk about what Chautauqua County can do. We need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, and we need to grow right here in Chautauqua County. You know, there are many counties in upstate New York, many that are growing. Their populations are increasing. How did they do it if it's impossible in New York State? There's no question it's possible. We're unique in Chautauqua County. We have all the assets we need here to grow. We just need leadership at the county executive's office. What we tend to do is we tend to have studies, we tend to analyze, we tend to be in a state of paralysis and have no action. And I'm certainly going to change that if I'm the next county executive. You're not going to hear me whining and complaining about New York State, because it's counterproductive and it's an excuse. It's an excuse for not getting anything done. It's an excuse to not to go out there and to talk only about New York State issues when you've been county executive 4 years should indicate that there's nothing much to talk about in Chautauqua County over the last 4 years. I just don't agree with that approach. Of course, the county executive has to work with our state officials. It's something that I will certainly do, and it's something that I understand fully getting into this position, what needs to happen in New York State and the approach that Chautauqua County needs to take. Now, Genesee County took an approach. They had a strategy and a plan, and they're getting help from New York State to build an agribusiness park in their county. We have nothing, no plan, no such plan in the works in Chautauqua County, and I think that's unfortunate. And I think it's something that will change if I'm elected the next county executive.
And you've got good ears and good members. I never said it was impossible. I just said it was very difficult, and I appreciated the questions that it was asked. $2.3 million was the grant that was just acquired to build Progress Drive to help support Nestle Marina in their $73 million investment right through a 25-acre brownfield that's being completed as we speak. And yes, it was something known about in the prior administration. We've actually gotten to the point where now we have ownership of it and we can move forward with it. So that's something that's actually happening. So that's $2.3 million to help grow the businesses that are up there. My opponent talks about other counties. Yes, 4 other counties in the state. One of them was growing because the Amish community has grown so large that they've actually increased their population through the Amish growth. 2 others were the result of the universities growing so sizably in there because the universities were growing. The other ones are located right around Albany, where they just invested $5 billion in nanotechnology and other technologies. So sure, there are counties out there, but those are the ones that my opponent continues to reference. So we have had.
How are you going to save Westfield Memorial Hospital?
It's a big economic impact. I fully support keeping that emergency room open. And many of you know my mother, who worked here at JCC for many, many years in the health center. She works in the emergency room at Westfield, and so what I've always said before is I better support that or else I'm in big trouble. I may lose my babysitting services. But yeah, again, that's a decision of the state, and I know our state leaders, I know for a fact, both of our state leaders, our state senator, Kathy Young, and our state assemblyman, Bill Parman, have been working very hard on this. As county executive, I would certainly work in conjunction with them to make sure that that was happening. But there's a bigger issue here. The bigger issue here is look at the conversation we're having here in Chautauqua County. We're getting smaller. We're losing people. We're talking about whether to shut down an emergency room and whether that is something that's viable, that it should happen. I don't believe that it should. But wouldn't it be nice if we were having a conversation about what we were going to do to build, or if we were going to add a wing or add a new hospital because our population was growing and we had a strong economy? My opponent just made it pretty clear that he doesn't think we can grow within New York State. He just said there's 3 other counties, and it was because of outlying factors. It was because of an Amish community or nanotechnology. So apparently it can't be done in New York State. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. And if you don't think that we can grow, you should run for county executive. If you don't think we can grow here in Chautauqua County, I believe we can reverse the population decline, and then we'd be having a different conversation here. We'd be talking about building up our services, like hospitals, like schools. We'd be talking about smart growth and some of these other things that would become necessary when you have economic growth that we have not been experiencing over these last 4 years. So yes, I fully support the hospital. Yes, I will work very strongly on their behalf with the state representatives, and certainly support keeping that open.
Every sense with wouldn't it be nice? I guess we could put our rose-colored glasses on and go home. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to pay for college? Wouldn't it be nice if you were guaranteed a job when you come out? You have to deal with the facts as they are. I rolled up my sleeves last time New York State tried to close Westfield Hospital, worked under the leadership of Stan Lundeen and with all the leaders of the 3 hospitals along the northern border, and we were able to get an accommodation out of the state that allowed us to try it a different way and design a different program to maintain and improve healthcare services in Chautauqua County. That was successful. I was pleased to work under the leadership of someone like Stan Lundeen and others to help make that possible. The reality is, New York State's taken a 60,000-foot view look down at Chautauqua County and said there's too many hospitals along Lake Erie. So they want to take the 4 beds that are open right now at Westfield that allows them to do their procedures and close them to make it look good on a stats sheet. That's terribly wrong, because we did what they wanted us to do. We changed the rules of the Burger Commission. We implemented those changes. It's 100 high-paying jobs that we need to save. How much would New York State pay to get 100 high-paying career jobs into Chautauqua County? That's to say nothing of the critical nature of Westfield Hospital to the health care of the whole region. And believe me, every hospital in Chautauqua County wants to save Westfield Hospital. That includes WCA down here, Brooks, and TLC. So what do? What did I do? I worked directly with the administration. I worked with their CEO. I was in the meetings that they had designing the strategy. They implemented their own strategy. When that was unsuccessful, they asked me for help. What did I do? Sometimes as county executive, you're able to draw the attention of the press. I was able to do that. We had a press conference. Sheriff Gerasi was right here. The administrator from Westfield Hospital was right here, surrounded by recognized leaders. We made a point that it was the wrong decision. You know what happened? Before noon the next day, the governor's office was on the phone to me saying, what's going on out there in Western New York? The governor supports Westfield Hospital. That's what you have to do when you're the county executive.
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if we had leadership in the county executive's office? Wouldn't that be nice? I can tell you, being the county executive is more than just a series of photo ops. It's more than a series of photo ops. You have to have a plan, you have to have a strategy, you have to have initiatives, you have to lead. And we have not seen that over the last 4 years. And all you need to do is go back and look at the record. We haven't talked about any initiatives that have come out of the county executive's office because they've been few and far between. And the ones that have come out have not worked. Medicaid czar is a great example. That was the only initiative I can remember voting on in the county legislature over the last 4 years. It's been a failure. It was supposed to save us $2 million a year. It saved us nothing. Nothing. And we haven't even had a Medicaid czar for most of the time that the position's been there. So yes, it would be nice if we had leadership. Yes, it would be nice if we had a program coming out of the county executive's office of what we're going to do to turn around the tide here in Chautauqua County. That would be very nice.